guys, we are back for another episode, and this one should be a fun yet a little messy episode. We are going to talk about the arbitrage between low-end grading company slabs and PSA and other higher-end company slabs, and where you guys can find value and look for good deals, because I think a lot of people assume that once it's in a slab, it's going to be, you know, kind of at the top of its price range, but that's not always the case, because a lot of the time these lower end grading company slabs don't hold much value, and even sometimes lower than what a raw card would go for, of course depending on the grade it got. But what I'm focusing on today is more of the kind of older sets in vintage, I guess you can call it. These are the sets that typically you're not going to get 10s. If on a good day you might get a 9. On a normal day you'll get a 7 or an 8. So I'm kind of looking for some arbitrage for slabs that come in lower grading companies that might grade at a 7 in or an 8 in a PSA, just based on the look of the card. And again, when you're looking at graded cards, don't always be fooled by the number of the grade, because a lot of the times a 10 doesn't look as good as some 9s, and some 9s don't look as good as some 8s. And I've seen grades that are as low as 5s and 6s that you really can't see any issue with from the naked eye. So I think this is especially important when you're trying to do grading sort of ROI, and how you can make the most money going from either a raw card to graded card, or in this case we're going from a graded card in a lower end grading company to a graded card in a higher end graded company. So last video you probably saw that I picked up this Jerry Rice rookie card, and I love this card. I've always wanted this card in a decent grade. The 9s and the 10s are pretty astronomical in the price range, so I'm going to take my shot at getting a grade that I think is decent in a lower end grading card company. In this case we're talking about GMA, which is probably the most I guess you say well-known of the lower end grading companies. So these are pretty plentiful. GMA does a really good job at pumping out graded cards. It's probably because they don't spend too much time actually grading the card, and they just kind of slap numbers on it. So, you know, there's running jokes all over the hobby about GMA 10s, and, you know, in reality, a lot of the 10s aren't going to ever cross over to a PSA 10. But I think when you start going back in time and you start looking at stuff from the 70s and the 80s, that kind of changes a little bit, because I think because it is so hard to find true gem mint cards during those eras, that kind of opens up the door a little bit more to GMA grades actually being closer to what a true PSA grade might be. So that's my theory. I'm gonna try it out. Obviously, this is gonna be my my attempt here at doing that, and I wanted to kind of just show you the process of how we're gonna crack this slab from the GMA, and then I'll take it out, and then of course probably submit it to PSA. So we'll have to again look into the future videos to see what the grade comes back as, but I think it'll be a fun experiment to kind of see how the crossover works there. So without further ado, I'm going to do my best to crack this guy out. This is a pretty messy process, so I advise you to have some sort of a plan to clean up an area, or put some sort of towel or something down, just to kind of keep it from getting really messy, because from the couple times I have cracked slabs, there has been just shards of plastic that fly around everywhere. So you definitely want to try your best not to do it like on a nice surface, or anything that might cause damage. But I do my best. I'm gonna probably have shards flying, so it is what it is, but I just wanted to show you guys sort of the process. So I have a pair of handy dandy, I don't know what these are called. There's a certain name of plier this is, but it's, you know, what you use to, like, it's not a wire cutter particularly, because it doesn't have all the different, you know, size variations for the different wire sizes and everything. So I guess it's this we'll just call them a pair of pliers for now. I'm sure there's really smart people in the comments that will correct me, but the way I do it is you're going to want to kind of go around the edges and slowly just take your time going around, and then at the end we're going to pry it open and do our best not to damage the card, because that would be very unfortunate if we got that far and damaged this beautiful card. So As you can see, I'm just kind of going around the edges, snipping off. There's like a little, probably like 1/8 inch edge around these cases. And I may be wrong on this, but I think this slab is the exact same slab that PSA uses. I couldn't tell you that for sure, but it feels like it. It doesn't feel like it's any thicker or different material or what have you. I mean, I would assume PSA would use a higher quality slab than GMA, but you know, you never know. It could be the exact same thing. So as you can see, shards are flying, and you got to get in far enough that you can actually, you know, break the seal, because, you know, there's obviously a point to where you can lift it and get the separation, so it becomes like a clamshell. So when you go to open it, it opens nice and easy, and you're not doing a bunch at that point. So I think I might need to go in just a smidge further on this side. So this is the part that a lot of people start getting a little concerned about, because you're getting, you know, within 1/2 inch, 1/3 of an inch to the card. But again, it's fairly it's fairly easy to do this. It doesn't take any sort of like super skill set. You're just really just trimming the edge of this plastic case with your pliers. So we'll see if that's far enough in, and then we'll do this side. Yeah, you see this giant mess I'm making? I mean, I do have the rag, but it's not really containing not even half of what's flying out, but it's okay. We will clean up afterwards. One thing I noticed too, I actually cracked a slab from a company, I think it was called PGI. I have to double check, but it was from, I got a Vince Carter rookie card that I picked up, and I wanted to get it out and get it graded by PSA. And it was definitely a different slab than this, because my God, it was the like most, I guess you call it soft plastic. So you see how this is just kind of like breaking nice and easy all around, like there isn't too much resistance. The other slab that I was opening from PGI was literally like super soft plastic, so it didn't have any, like, it didn't break. It just kind of like squished, if that makes sense. It was kind of just like, as you squeezed on the pliers, you would do it, and then it was just like, it would just like make a mark in it. It wouldn't even like crack it or anything. So, oh my God, I like had every tool in my tool belt out to try to get that that guy out. I finally did, but it was gnarly. Okay, so of course you don't want to pull out your card and stick it on top of this towel on the same side that you're cutting on. Best case scenario, I would probably just wrap this towel up, put it to the side. Sorry about the bump. There we go. And then get a new towel. There we go. Fresh towel. We don't want to have any shards, you know, scratch our card. That would be, after all that, right? That would be terrible. Okay, so there's the chipped up crazy card there. The next step is just finding something like a flat tool or something small that you can kind of jimmy it into the, I guess you call it the cavity here of this thing. So I just got this little screwdriver. Probably be better if it was a flathead, but this should work because it's so small that it should get right in there. So I'm going to find a spot where it seems somewhat open. So you can see I kind of got it in there. And then I'm just going to start working my way around the edges. And you'll start kind of feeling it opening up like a little clamshell there. And at some point, once you feel like you've gotten a pretty good portion of it, it will just lift open like this. If you did everything right, nice and clean, well, not, you know, clean with the mess, but clean in the sense that the card should be fine. And then I will just, again, be careful that no little shards got on your towel here. Find a nice clean spot. You know, I'm just gonna flip this over since this is a new towel. The other side should be perfect. Take my card and I'm just gonna gently just lay it down. Boom. Keep this as a souvenir if you want to. Anyways, all right. So make sure your hands are free of any crud. Grab yourself a nice, fresh, soft sleeve and top loader. Okay, so there it is. I'm just giving it a quick inspection. I mean, this card looks really, really, really nice. I don't know where GMA pulled this number 7 out of their butts, but it is a good looking card. So my hope is, best case scenario, I mean, I would love to get a PSA 7 on this card. Well, I guess that's not best case scenario. Best case scenario, I could get an 8 or even a 9, but probably not. But I mean, if you look at this card, I mean, the centering, and this is why I purchased this card, because I saw the potential for the card itself. I wasn't just looking at, oh, it's a GMA 7, so therefore, you know, do the math, it's going to be some, you know, PSA like 5 or something, because typically that's what it is. You get a GMA 10 and it comes back like a PSA 7 or an 8, or, you know, it's just usually not very good. But for some reason I saw this card and I just felt like it had the potential, and my only concern was there some sort of surface damage or something that you couldn't see in the pictures on eBay. And now that I looked at it, inspected it, I mean, it looks about as good as I've seen them. And I mean, the centering looks solid, the corners are pretty sharp, edges look clean, the surface looks good. So I mean, we'll find out, but I'm excited to get this one off, because I definitely want to complete this experiment and let you guys know kind of how it turned out. It might be next summer by the time we get it back, but there you go. That is how you arbitrage between grading companies and how you crack a slab. I hope this was informative for you guys, and I hope you guys can use this for some future stuff you guys are doing. I think it's a great way, and it just takes a little bit of eagle eye and some patience, and you too can find value doing this exact technique.